watching a movie called The Pentagon Wars. It's about the production of the Bradley fighting vehicle, which infantry guys know that mechanized means you are part of the Bradley fighting vehicle. And being part of that for 10 years, I watched the production of the Bradley evolve. So it's a great vehicle. I loved it.
Welcome, Colonel.
Thank you, General.
Thought you and I ought to get to know one another.
I welcome the opportunity, sir.
Fact is, I'd like to help you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't mean to alarm you, Colonel, but this new job of yours, under certain circumstances, could turn into a real shit-burning detail. You're gonna need as many friends as you can get. I'd like you to count me as one of them. Your commanding officer, General DeGrasso, and I are old friends. But then you draw the short straw.
I was assigned, sir.
Ah, hell, it's a bum deal, whoever made it. Every other year, somebody decides we're spending too much money. So a bunch of pencil necks put their pointy little heads together and come up with a plan. This year, it's the Joint Live Fire Test Program, staffed with officers from every branch of the service. I mean, who thinks up this nonsense?
Congress, sir?
And so it should. That's its job. You'll never hear me criticize the Hill.
Lucky man.
Smart man. First-rate soldier, just like you, Colonel. Knew how to make the best of a difficult situation. Now, this new job of yours is too tough for any one man to go it alone. It's going to require teamwork. Here you go.
All right, what you see him getting is, it shows FM on it. It's called a field manual. The Army has a field manual for every weapon, and everything is all field manuals. And it's just your basic of how to use it, how to employ it, how to clean it. That's pretty much all it is.
The range is now hot. The range is now hot. Commencing the armor penetration test on the Bradley fighting vehicle. Attention on the firing line. Attention on the firing line. You ready on the right? Ready on the left.
All right, the paddles you see here using on the range, the tower pretty much controls everything on the range with popping up targets. So what the tower is asking is everybody on the line ready. Well, a white paddle means that, hey, we're not ready down here. Red paddle means, hey, we're all ready. Let's go hot. And the range is hot then, and you're able to fire live ammunition.
Gentlemen, our mission was to design and implement an infantry transport vehicle that would be a worthy replacement for the M113 armored personnel carrier.
In this one, the original vehicle for armored personnel carrier was called the 113. What the Bradley was supposed to do is replace the 113 with more firepower, more lethal, and more speed than the 113. So the Bradley was like pretty much the next step up from that 113 personnel carrier. And that's all they were trying to do with the Bradley.
In other words, it was designed to be a big taxi cab, drive guys to the battlefield and go back home.
Well, this is all well and good, Colonel Smith, but...
Something wrong, General?
Well, with this gorilla in production, I don't suppose there's going to be anything left in the budget for my scout. You always need a scout. And you know what I'm thinking? Why couldn't this thing serve as a scout?
No.
No, we'll just stick a turret on top with lots of opticals.
But then, sir, it'll be even bigger.
When you needed that anti-aircraft gun, who backed you up on that?
You did, Bob.
And who testified to appropriations on behalf of that gun?
You did, Bob.
I'm talking to appropriations next week. Now, do I sell you on my scout or do I not?
You did, Bob. And how about some portholes along the side for individual firearms so the fellas can stick out their guns and shoot people?
You can't hurt anybody with that pansy-ass gun. Add on some firepower.
All right, this was the original Bradley, and I was actually on one of these. Great firepower. This was a tow launcher. It fired missiles, and you could see 2 ports for 2 missiles. This was the 25mm Bushmaster. Great weapon. It could fire armor piercing or high explosive. And right on there was a 7.62 240 Charlie. Lots of firepower. These little ports here were for smoke grenades. If you needed to have, to obscure what you're doing, it shot smoke grenades out of there. And these side panels they were supposed to protect the track. They were very thin, very easy to move. These were what you saw in the movie. These were port-firing weapons. M16, but a smaller version. Each port you could see out of a periscope and fire those weapons out of a periscope. No aiming involved at all. You were just spraying and praying is all you did. And that's about the basic. It fits 6 people in the back. 2 people are in the turret. And then your driver's hatch is right there. That's it.
That's good work, Smith.
Looks perfect to me.
Thank you, sir.
Thing is,
Yes, General?
looks a little like a tank with that cannon on top. Probably gonna draw more fire.
Actually, sir, that has come to our attention.
We know it's not a tank, but will the other side?
I guess we could always thicken the armor.
Colonel Smith, could you explain why you put those portholes there?
Yes, sir. As per your request, so the men could shoot out at the enemy.
Portholes? What are we in now, the Navy? Say, you think you could make this thing amphibious? You know, get the troops across a river?
No. No, sir. No. No.
The Bradley can swim. I've witnessed it. I've been on it. Basically, there's this swim barrier that's on the side of the Bradley. Now, in the water, the Bradley can only go 5 miles an hour. So it was very dangerous. Everyone had to be outside on top of the Bradley. And it took about 45 minutes to erect this swim barrier and to take it back down and put it back into storage. So it didn't happen a lot. This was just an idea of being able to get across small ponds, nothing like an ocean or anything.
100 Bradleys have been ordered?
We have a schedule, Colonel Burton, and I'm not going to have it on my record that the Bradley fell behind schedule just because you're fussing over some goddamn test.
Those goddamn tests could save lives.
The Bradley will save lives, Colonel, by bringing men to the front line where they're needed.
Do you have any idea, Colonel, what would happen to those men if the Bradley takes a hit and the aluminum burns? That thing could be a death trap.
Says who?
Says me.
And how do you know? Have you put people in there during a test?
The death trap. All of us guys that used to ride in the back of this Bradley, it's exactly what we called it. Sometimes when you're in that confined space, you can't get out fast. The ramp has to come down in order for us to run out the back. So we're pretty much sitting ducks inside the back of the Bradley, and that's why we dubbed it the death trap.
Sir, Colonel Barker's on his way over here, sir.
I'm sure he is.
For your information, sir, it sounded like a world-class shit fit, sir.
I'm sure it is, Sergeant.
Well, you can't do that!
Well, I did. You don't want sheep? Leonard, Chavez, get the sheep out of there and get in the Bradley. Dalton!
Yes, sir.
Get in the Bradley.
Sir?
I need a vaporifics test.
Oh, we'll just use the sheep. I think that's a terrific idea. We use the sheep in the Bradley. All sheep in the Bradley. Come on, we're gonna use... Oh, God damn it!
We're going to talk about the sheep test. I saw actual videos of a goat being in the back of the Bradley when they shot a round through it. And there's so much suction that happens when a round goes through that it sucked that sheep right out the hole.
On the way, sir. Fire!
God. Granger, don't breathe!
Because the Bradley was made of aluminum, it burns. If something starts on fire in that Bradley, it will burn to the ground. So the toxic fumes that happen while that aluminum's burning, that's what you see in that shot. It was just so much smoke, and as soon as you smell that, yeah, you'll feel it in your lungs, that's for sure.
Distinguished members of Congress, I think it's fair to say that you'll be seeing enough from this test to give you the basis once and for all to form your own conclusion about the sort of systemic excellence we've been pursuing. I give you your Bradley fighting vehicle.
Sergeant, everything's gonna go as planned, isn't it? It'll go exactly as it should, sir. As planned, right? Corporal, this is Sergeant Dalton. Move the vehicle about 5 yards forward and then clear out. Over?
Roger that. All eyes front. on the Bradley fighting vehicle. The vehicle that will carry our boys to victory for many, many years to come.
Fire!
Now in this final test, they set it up as if you were in combat. They actually put fuel in it, not water. Everything was set up properly. And you could see this thing catches on fire after one round. And you could see it does and will continue to burn to the ground. And that's what we were always afraid of for the death trap.
We had you figured wrong. The men come first with you, and you proved that.
Alright, well, on our scale, I'd give this movie a 4. It was definitely high speed. It showed more of the behind the scenes. There wasn't a lot of action, not a lot of shooting, not a lot of blood, not a lot of that stuff, kind of thing. But I think this showed a different side of what the Army is about the development stage and that smoke and mirrors stuff that happens at the Pentagon that no one really knows about.